Well, before we get into super chats, maybe we should bring up our debate. Was it from last stream, Adam? But now that we
Mhm.
have DarkMatter and Sargon here, maybe they can weigh in on this.
No,
Me,
let's ignore that.
we
Oh my
had a debate
God. It wasn't
about
really a debate.
is a heated conversation about whether the majority of people, hundreds and even thousands of years ago who were religious believed their religion literally or not. And I took the position that I assumed the majority of people throughout history literally believed their religion was true. And Adam said
Yeah,
he did
me
not
too.
think so.
I think so.
Well, there you go.
Everyone's
S-Class
saying,
wins again.
everyone's saying I'm wrong. We're actually supposed to bring in Paul Vanderklay next week to talk about this topic because it's an argument that I'm not super familiar with, and it may be hocus pocus for all I know. But the several Christians and competent theologists make the argument that the Bible wasn't always taken literally. I think Jordan Peterson and Paul Vanderklay is like a Jordan Peterson expert makes that argument. So I will defer to him.
I'll tell you the criticism I often get from religious intellectuals is that I'm a moron because the Bible's not supposed to be taken literally. Well, I'm not the one doing that. I'm responding to the people who do that.
Correct.
It's not. I'm not the one doing the interpreting. And when I refute these people who say that evolution doesn't happen or the Big Bang didn't happen, I'm not doing it by telling them the way their religion is supposed to be interpreted, because it's not my job to promote the religion or teach them about how their religion is supposed to be or whatever. I'm going to use science, which is going to work on Christianity. It's going to work on Islam. It's going to work on any form of creationism, because those are scientific arguments. Those are arguments that exist within the scientific realm, and that's how I'm going to approach it. And in order to do that, I need to address the literalism of their beliefs. Now, I understand there's plenty of religious people who don't take, Genesis literally. I'm not talking to them. I'm not, yeah, and they're the ones who come after me and say, "What do you? It's not. You're an atheist fundy." No, I'm not talking to you. So be gone.
I think you make a great point, and I think that is kind of a dying breed, because we're discovering that evolution is great evidence that religion is actually good for society. So the animosity towards religion that a lot of anti-theists grew up with, I think, is dissipating for that reason, because if religion is going to, or if evolution is going to be the evidence that actually proves to people that that religion is pro-social, the religion that they love, then obviously they're going to have to do quite a lot of accepting of evolution if they want to use that evidence.
Right, but that's believing in something because you like the aesthetic of it rather than the actual objective truth of it. Like,
I agree.
Yeah, like this can be useful to me. Okay, now I'm going to believe it. I just don't think that that's a very good way to come to a belief.
I completely agree with you. I'm a man of science. But if they accidentally come to a belief that's pro-social and true, I'm all for it. So that seems to be the case with the evolution thing.
Though, just to answer the question, I've read a huge number of historical sources based around all kinds of Western and Middle Eastern religions, and I would categorically and I would find it actually quite foolish to suggest that these people didn't take the scriptures literally, and I would suggest that it actually comes from a kind of modern privilege where we have science, so we have alternative explanations for the universe. Because you've got to remember that these people just didn't understand the universe. The Greeks literally thought that Zeus lived on Mount Olympus. The Crusaders literally thought that they would have their sins washed away and they would be remitted and entered into heaven. The Muslims literally think that if they die in the jihad, then they get their virgins. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case now, and the religious fundamentalists who act like it's literally true stand out like a sore thumb now, because we have science, because we have reasonable explanations for these things that don't require gods. But I would say absolutely the overwhelming majority of people absolutely believed that religion existed. Religion was real, and the God was going to punish them if they didn't do the right thing. I mean, like, you had German flagellants who during the Black Plague would walk through the town saying, "This is a punishment we get from God," and scourge their own backs, as they're walking through. You've got crusaders who literally walk 1,000 miles by foot and fight their way through oceans of blood in order to capture one city that they thought their prophet died in. Alfred the Great writes about the Viking invasions as being the reason this is happening is a punishment from God because they have strayed from the path of Christianity, and he was obsessed with getting England back on the path. I mean, Attila the Hun was called the Scourge of God. When Hugli Khan turned up outside of Baghdad, he literally said, "I am the punishment that God has sent for you." Like before he sacks Baghdad. Like, I really think they believed.
Yeah, I do too, and I think that when you have the scholars and intellectuals, the actual people who are literate, who may have seen more metaphor in the scripture, that could give a false impression. Like, these are the people writing the history, that could give a false impression of what the common folk believe, and the common folk absolutely took it literally.
I actually think that the intellectuals took it literally too. That's the thing. There's a lot of medieval Catholic thought that has really quite deep philosophical views on God, and you end up getting to like the ontological argument for God, which is a really complex answer to the question of does God exist. And it's because the intelligent people of the time were like, well, we think we believe that there is, so you've got to rationalize why you believe what you believe. I really think they believed.
All right, let's move on to Super Chat.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. Guys, for showing that S class is truly the best class.